and welcome back to Miranda Reads the International Book Along List 2023. I'm reading the International Book Along List 2023. My name is Miranda and welcome to this review of Standing Heavy by GauZ, translated by Wynne. So as I mentioned in my last video, my review of Is Mother Dead, which I literally just filmed, in case you couldn't tell, I am currently alternating with my book of reading between books I like and books I don't like. And today, we're on one that I didn't like. So, Standing Heavy is about security guards in Paris, most of whom, well, the ones that we focus on primarily, have moved from Côte d'Ivoire to Paris. And this is what the author of the book also did. And he worked as a security guard in Paris for some of his life. And you primarily follow three men who have worked as security guards at various different points. They have relationships with each other, they know each other, and they're all quite different and kind of experience the world and their jobs in somewhat different ways. Now, I really loved reading about the relationships between these three security guards and their different views on the world, where they've come from. I enjoyed reading all of the stuff about politics and about the characters and about France and its relationships with different countries and how those have changed over time and been impacted by different world events. All very interesting. However, you can't get into any of that good stuff because in between the sections about the characters and the three security guards who you mainly focus on, you have kind of extended interludes. Oh, it annoys me so much. These extended interludes full of observations from a security guard who is working primarily in a Sephora on the Champs-Elysees, and you read these observations kind of like almost in real time. It's like he's sort of narrating like what he's seeing to you as he's kind of going about his day. And these sections ruined the entire book for me. Having the main sort of narrative focus and the character focus being split up like this means that you cannot really get invested or interested in what is happening with these people because you are constantly being taken out of it to then go somewhere else and go into these incredibly annoying interludes. So why did I dislike these sections so much? Basically, like I said, they're full of the observations of a security guard as he's at work, and they read like they are trying to be funny in a kind of like dry and dark kind of way, being like, oh, I'm so, humorous by observing people and making witty observations about them. But it isn't funny. At best, it's really boring, and at worst, it's just mean and cruel. Like, basically what it amounts to is not particularly anything insightful. Occasionally there is something insightful in these sections, but most of the time it's things like the music in shopping centres is shit, or young girls take photos of themselves while they're shopping for clothes instead of looking in the mirror. It's things like that, and you're like, cool, okay, great. Why do I care? Some of the observations are just really horrible things about people's bodies. Like, someone is described as looking disturbingly anorexic, and then it goes into specific numerical detail about their weight and their height, and that is just whole realms of wrong. And this kind of thing only happens to women, really, as well. The women that the security guard encounters, like, he's just making fun of how certain women look, and it's just unnecessary. What this does do is, I think, it makes you realise how, boring and dull, staring at people and not really doing anything apart from, you know, watching out for shoplifters and stuff, how dull that can be, which is a big kind of part of the book. It's saying like, this is, you know, boring work that is not stimulating, and you need to kind of like create your own ways inside your head of making it interesting. And it's true that, you know, you judge people. When you are watching people, you judge them, especially if you are not in a happy place, and, you know, your job is just to watch people and make sure that they don't steal stuff that you don't care about. You know, yes, you're going to be judgmental and you are going to be rude and have, you know, not nice thoughts about people. And I'm not saying that I would have preferred a book where it's a security guard standing there going, oh yeah, look at all these lovely people, aren't they wonderful, in a kind of like, you know, non-judgmental way, because that's not realistic. That's fine. However, it's not interesting and it doesn't add anything to the experience of the book. Like, I get no insight into what it's like to be a security guard from the observations of someone who is just looking at people's bodies and being cruel about it. Like, that's not interesting in any way. And again, this is really frustrating to me because the parts about the characters, I say characters because they are named and they have a kind of more like narrative focus, whereas the kind of the things written from the perspective of the security guard, these kind of interludes, observations, they are purely like external. They're not really, you don't get to know anything about the security guard himself. So it's kind of just like you're in his head watching outwards. And I suppose this could have been an interesting thing if, you know, you have this sort of juxtaposition between like, oh yeah, this is what these people are like, and this is what they kind of experience and what they see. I guess, yeah, like I said, it's very frustrating because if you had more time with the kind of more narrative based sections, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there, but you just don't get to go into it, and that was really annoying. And that frustration makes me dislike a book more, and be more resentful towards the rest of it that I don't like, because there are sections that show what it could have been. It's similar to how I felt about Gospel, really. It's like the parts that made me most annoyed at the book were the parts that I enjoyed, where I was like, yes, this is good, and then you go right back to the other stuff that is not good, and it's so frustrating. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend this book, to be honest. And again, I was expecting to enjoy this. Not expecting, I was hoping to enjoy this. I went in thinking, okay, you know, some people that I've seen reviewing this haven't enjoyed it. I was really interested in this kind of perspective of security guards and undocumented immigrants, and it could have been so much, I think, or at least it could have been somewhat more than it was. But in the end, it just annoyed me. If you've read Stunning Heavy, let me know, and we can have a chat about it. If you liked it, please talk to me, because I really want to know why. I mean, I think I can see why, because there is, like I said, there's interesting stuff in there. It just wasn't enough to make it good for me. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will see you soon, probably with another review.